Good morning. Months ago, I asked Reverend Eric for a Sunday sermon slot for the Green Sanctuary team so that we could have your undivided attention while we talked about the Green Sanctuary program. We wanted to bring it to you to raise awareness of the program, to let you know the work that's been done, what remains to be done, and to generate support and participation. The team and I prepared the sermon and all the elements, and about a week ago, we were ready to go, feeling good, sermon complete, ahead of the game, leg up, until actually a few days ago when I received a surprise announcement via email from the Green Sanctuary team at the UUA. They were announcing a new revised program, iteration number 7, and there would be a webinar. I quickly jumped on the Green Sanctuary website for a bit of research and found a few pages describing a program that looked quite different from the one we were currently working. Feeling a bit nervous and wondering what direction this would take us, I attended the webinar, during which the staff and the team announced a complete redesign of the Green Sanctuary program. This new program, entitled Green Sanctuary 2020, A Faithful Response to Climate Urgency, or GS 2020 for short, is a complete refocus. Whereas the previous program asked us to assess the congregation's involvement in environment, sustainability, and climate issues, and to complete 12 projects that address those areas across congregational life, GS 2020 is focused like a laser beam exclusively on climate change and environmental justice. The intention of GS 2020 is to build a UU movement of impactful action aimed at mitigating climate change, building resilience to climate change effects, and collaborating with frontline communities to fight environmental justice. This redesign isn't just tweaks. This new iteration completely changes the focus and goals of the program. So let me go back a little ways and give some history. Many of us know that back in the 1980s, NASA scientists modeled out just how quickly the Earth was warming. Armed with these models, they warned Congress of a looming crisis and pleaded for steps to be taken to shift course and avert disaster. At the same time, Exxon, the largest oil company in the world, had scientists building similar models. They came to the same conclusions as NASA, but their findings led the company to, in the words of Bill McKibben of 350.org, begin spending money to build an architecture of deceit and denial and disinformation that for the next 30 years kept us locked in a pointless debate about whether global warming was real. A question that turned out to be the most consequential one in human history. During this period, a budding movement to cut emissions also began. It was around this time, same time later in the 1980s, that impassioned Unitarian Universalists like all of us here gathered today said to each other, we have to respond to this global warming threat. We have to do something, they said, as UUs, about environmental issues, about global warming, about creating ecological justice. And we have to do it in our faith community and our communities where we live and work. It was from these conversations that emerged the UUA's Green Sanctuary program. Fast forward 30 plus years, the petroleum industry's strategic deception campaign was a success, and that is why we stand at the brink of the highest global temperatures considered safe. Just what it will mean to cross that line remains an ongoing question for scientists, but we've already started to experiencing a changing climate. Today, extreme weather events are happening at increased rates. We are seeing the growing intensity of hurricanes and other catastrophic storm events. Our forests are burning. We hear of floods and dire warnings of enduring droughts. This is an urgent call for action, and we need to respond now. Modeled after the Welcoming Congregation program that invites congregations to take specific steps to welcome people of all sexual orientations, Green Sanctuary is an accreditation program that guides congregations to take actions on climate issues and environmental justice. Last year, as we restructured our approach to social justice and looked to launch a new climate initiative, a group of us saw that the Green Sanctuary program provided a path for the whole congregation to work together on climate toward a more sustainable and just world. The program guides the congregation through the steps of building awareness, understanding, making a commitment, and taking action. Working under the umbrella of the Climate Social Justice Initiative, the Green Sanctuary team came together in March of this year, just as the pandemic was arriving. And COVID kept us separate, but socially distanced, but the team still managed to begin work on this important endeavor, gathering information about our environmental practices in congregational life, and researched Massachusetts communities who are most in peril of environmental justice. We will show a short video on environmental justice today following this sermon. Simultaneous to the work of the GS team, an energy task force working on reducing the carbon footprint of our meeting house conducted an energy audit, and thanks to the efforts led by Ray Angelone and Barbara Evans and the grants procured, we've been implementing the main audit recommendations, which include installing more efficient lighting and insulation. Once these efficiencies are complete in 2021, it is estimated that our carbon footprint will be reduced to 14 metric tons. So we've accomplished a good deal of work so far, and the actions we have taken align squarely with the requirements of the GS 2020 program. This, along with the urgency to mitigate climate change, compels us to unite behind and work this new Green Sanctuary program, GS 2020. So what will this work look like? Addressing climate change requires dramatic changes to how much CO2 we emit to power our homes, our factories, communities, build our cities, feed ourselves, and move around. There are many ways we can reduce our carbon output, but there isn't a single bullet or a single pressure point to address the climate challenge. According to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, to accomplish a livable and just world, we need to reduce global net carbon emissions by 45% by the year 2030 and to net zero or near net zero by 2050. This is what the UUA and Green Sanctuary 2020 asks us to do. So you might be saying, what? GS 2020 is asking UUs to mitigate or reduce our carbon output by 45% in 10 years and to near zero by 2050? That's a big ask. How do we do that? The work will be difficult and challenging, but guided and supported by the GS 2020 program and the network of UU congregations involved in this movement. To accomplish it, we must make a paradigm shift. We must redefine our habits, develop new consumption patterns, and establish new priorities. It means changing our behaviors by becoming keenly aware of our choices and the impact that our choices have on this earth. This approach engages us all, individuals, families, congregations, and communities. This urgent call is going out to each and every one of us because we are interconnected and we share this common destiny. Today, I'm asking every person in this congregation to commit to respond to this call to action. It is the work of our lifetime. And this work offers us an opportunity filled with rational hope and a vision for a better future. The Green Sanctuary team will be sending out an email for a meeting next week, along with the Zoom links, so that we can come together to discuss next steps. So let us take a breath and process all of this. It is a lot to take in. Come to the meeting with the Green Sanctuary Committee to find out the next steps. We are in this together because we are interconnected. So before I go, I want to leave you with a task that is perhaps the single most important thing that we can do today about climate change, and that is to talk about it. Climate change is transforming the world, so why aren't we talking about it? If we do not have these conversations, how do we expect the world to change? Climate scientist Katharine Hayhoe gave a TED Talk last year about the idea that coping with climate change begins with talking about it with family, friends, neighbors, and communities. She says, the most important thing to do is talk about it from your heart. Talk about why it matters to you and begin with generally shared values. We need to talk about why climate change matters to us in the places where we live, thinking about everything from the air that we breathe, to the food that we eat. If we do that, we will find a way to get past the political polarization linked to the phrase climate change. When people talk about the climate crisis with people they know, they're more likely to learn key facts. More importantly, they're more likely to learn about the clear scientific consensus on climate change and begin to believe that it's actually happening. Greta Thunberg, the 16-year-old climate activist, says, I remember thinking that it was very strange that humans could be capable of changing the Earth's climate. Why is no one talking about this? Why? We should be hearing about it as if there was a world war going on. Our very existence is threatened. Why is there no action? Why is no one talking about it? Bill McKibben was once asked, what is the best thing one person can do? His reply was, don't be one person. Join a movement. The Green Sanctuary program offers us a platform for being part of a unique UU movement to create climate justice and a way to amplify the efforts of UU congregations to develop and achieve a more sustainable future. Green Sanctuary is a collective effort, not a personal project for a few most committed environmentalists in the congregation. It is about all of us coming together to create the Earth community that we envision right here in our congregational home. Let's start talking about it, and let's seize the moment to take action together now. Blessed be.